Good evening, everyone. This is Billy Neely, and I want to introduce, not even introduce, I want to welcome y'all to Daily Battles. Real quick, Daily Battles is about our veterans, our first responders, our heroes on the daily battles that we face, that we suffer with, and things that we've experienced. And most of all, what do we do to overcome all of these daily battles? It's Today's guest, I know for a fact, has a powerful story because I personally know this man. And when I first met him, his story really touched me, and even showed what the true word of not battles but survival. So, everyone, without further ado, I want to go ahead and let my buddy Craig come in. And how you doing, brother?
Brother, I'm good. How about you, my man?
We're just we're living life and enjoying things, man. Um,
Every day's a blessing.
that's it. So, Craig, I know that I talked to you a little bit about what Daily Battles is, and
hmm
just we're going to retract just a little bit. And basically, what we're doing is we're letting everybody know that's out there watching us, and believe it or not, they're going to look at us, man, and they're going to hear our stories, things that you and me and everybody else has been faced with, what we've experienced, and most of all, what have we done to overcome it. Me, I spent 27 years of my life in uniform between the military and law enforcement,
Yep.
and I've dealt with some things, and brother, I know that you've dealt with some things, and I can honestly say that the things that I've dealt with never has come close to what I know that you dealt with, and that's what we want
Yeah,
everybody to know is don't give up. There's hope.
no.
So, real quick, Craig, tell us who Craig Burt is.
How far back you want me to go?
I guess around since we met.
Uh, I mean, I grew up in Oxford, Alabama. I grew up down there in the Kingdom of Leon. A lot of people call it the privilege, but I was nowhere near privileged. I had my battles to fight down there, but spent a lot of years in martial arts. Actually, up until I joined the police force, and that's about when we met. Roughly was when I joined Anniston Police Department.
It's actually a little bit afterwards. It
Yeah,
was
well, you're right.
it's
My
when you
mind ain't
started.
what it used to.
Yeah, I believe you me. I know. We met probably around the line when you just got released on a cane.
On what now?
When you were walking around with the cane.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That's probably about a year after Elizabeth Street, maybe a
Yeah,
year and a half.
just shortly after when I was going through my hiring process is when Elizabeth Street took place. So you grew up in Oxford, Alabama, naturally martial arts. What did you do after high school, man?
I taught martial arts for years.
Okay.
I had a really big school that was located right directly across from Summerall Gate at Fort McClellan.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But then, when Slick Willie did his job, that killed that business.
yeah.
When he come in
So
and shut the bank. So I did a little
before
time working out at Warner in a factory, and I
okay.
realized that wasn't for me. So I did my next dream, which was join the police force.
And going into law enforcement, what made you really put that uniform on and hold your hand up like the rest of us, heroes have done? What
Well,
drove
I mean,
Craig?
all through high school, that was something that I wanted to do. I always that was something I wanted to do. The opportunity, I mean, at the time, martial arts was a much more lucrative business.
Right.
I made more money doing that, But then when that went away, like I said, I tried the factory work, and I realized that wasn't for me, and I thought, well, if I'm gonna do it, this is the time to do it right now.
Yeah. I mean, it. Did you have hesitation in
Not at
going
all.
in?
Not
Okay.
not at all. And the crazy thing is, me and my wife at the time, we both applied.
Okay.
and she got called before I got called, and she had just got into nursing school, so she turned the job down, and we're like, "Well, is your husband Craig there?" She's like, "Yeah, here he is."
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so I got on the phone. They offered me the job.
No, that's glad she became a nurse and definitely, served the public. But we have that and had that calling. So
Oh
once
yeah,
you entered into the police academy, I don't know, you were pre Billy Duckett days, correct?
yes, we was Kaiser, Stouty, and Sparks.
Okay. So old Bumper.
Yeah, Bumper
Yeah.
and Little Hitler.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So when you get into law enforcement and you're in the academy, did you have one of those oh shit moments like boom, it just opens up? And where I'm going at is like me in basic training. I went into basic training straight out of high school. Here I am, 132 pounds, soaking wet. I get off that cattle car and boom, the shark attack takes place. Did you experience
Right.
anything like that?
Well, I mean, our academy was very, for lack of a better word, laid back. You
Okay.
know, we they didn't stress a lot on PT. Their whole thing was it's your responsibility to keep yourself in shape. And if you don't keep yourself in shape, we'll just fail you out of the academy.
Well,
You know,
and me personally, I like that concept because I'm not knocking any of our brothers in blue that are watching this. A lot of them are getting complacent, and
oh,
that
absolutely.
that true term of donut eaters is taking effect, and I hate seeing that, but definitely,
If you're gonna do that job, you need to be in shape. I
most
mean,
definitely.
and I'm not knocking them either, but you know as well as I do, you never know when a fight's gonna break out.
Exactly. Okay,
And
so
if you can't go 15 seconds without getting winded, you're no good to nobody.
Craig gets out of police academy. Your whole career was at Anniston Police Department, correct?
It was.
All right, and naturally we all go to patrol. How long were you on patrol before you went to SRT?
Well, I was on patrol an entire summer before I went to the academy.
Okay,
So when I come out of the academy, I mean, as soon as my year got in and I could try out, I went for it.
good, good.
I
Obviously,
mean, I had a blast policing, and I figured if policing is this much fun, then SRT is just going to be that much more.
it's those of y'all that are non law enforcement military, that adrenaline rush is something else.
It's
It's
fun.
it's better than any drug that's out there.
I
And
agree with you 100%.
so
When you standing on one side of the door and you don't know if that guy's waiting on you to come in that door to pull the trigger, it gets you going.
oh, most definitely. So Craig gets on SRT, and how long are you on SRT before you get your true, I guess you say, active position, and then actually go into being the shield man?
Uh, I was an alternate for probably, and man, I might get the times wrong. I was an alternate or an extra for maybe 3 to 5 months before I become active. And I mean, once I got active, I was shield man.
So you were Gray Patch Squad then, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So any of our, fellow Aniston brothers and Calhoun County guys, y'all know what the Great Pat Squad is. So, all right, fast forward, you're wide open in law enforcement, dude. You're on top of the world. I'm just going to go ahead and start. Before we start with Elizabeth Street, how was Craig's faith with the Lord?
It was. I mean, I've always believed in God. I have, and I still have issues with churches, but I've never lost. But maybe 50-50.
Okay.
I mean, the faith was there. It's just the dedication wasn't there. If that
Well,
if
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
no, in the career field of military law enforcement and public safety, hospitals, all of that, it's very, very hard to be active in a church. Um,
Absolutely.
so I'm going to let you go into whatever detail that you want with Elizabeth Street, and just tell us until Craig is at the hospital.
I mean, well, we got the call. Gosh, probably around 9:30 that morning. We just told, just SRT. Well, that's when we had beepers. The SRT beeper off, SRT 911. So we all knew you had 30 minutes to get to the station. So we went to the station, and they told us we was going to be working with the county. So we transferred over there, and we sat there, and they went over everything that was going on. What we was dealing with. We knew we was dealing with a World War II veteran. That had gotten off his medications and was getting messages from the Lord and had threatened, had threatened to kill his family if he ever saw him again. And we got a basic, we got a layout of the house, which was very helpful.
Yeah,
It's always good to know the layout of the house.
sure.
Points of entry, points of congestion, fatal funnels, stuff like that. And I guess probably around 11:30 or 12, we actually made our move up to the house. The way his house was sitting, where we parked, and this was another, because where we made our entry was all brick, so he never got to see us make our entry.
Right.
Cold, rainy day, January, and
It ain't
so we
raining,
we
you
do.
ain't training.
That's right. And we do SOP, trying to make contact with this guy, trying to make contact. And we tried to make contact. We got on scene, I won't say, Billy, around noon, and we didn't actually make entry till about 7:35. And the time in between that, we was trying to make entry with this guy, and we pumped so much gas into this dude's house. I mean, just so much gas, to the point that we started thinking, okay, we're going in for a body recovery. That's what we're going to do. We're going in for a body recovery. You know, um, Tried to enter through the carport, but what he had done is he had backed one of his cars all the way up to his carport door and blew his tires out, set his car on the ground. But it's one of those that right by the carport door, there was a window that went into the laundry room. So we did, break and rake. We got 4 guys into the laundry room. I went in first, grabbed the shield, and dude, there was so much gas in that house. I mean, we started choking, tearing up. So we had to put our mask on,
Right.
and then it was a waiting game. We had a foothold in the house, but we didn't have control of the house. We was trying to get the rest of the team in the house. Well,
So
they finally found.
while you're
Go ahead.
sitting in there in this room, is there any communication with this guy? Are y'all hearing anything?
Well,
Or is
the
it
whole
just
time the negotiators are still trying to get this guy, but no, we didn't hear anything. There was no movement, no sound, none of that. We didn't hear nothing. Again, we're sitting here telling ourselves, we're going in here to find a dead body. That's what we were thinking. So they finally they found a record driver that was crazy enough to back up and just hook to the car and drag the car out.
right?
So the other half of our team is on the front door. Well, they start ramming the door. Well, the door ain't budging. The door, and our ram guy, Tim Watley, big boy.
Oh, yes, yes.
And when Tim hits a door, that door goes away. But
Yeah,
this,
for sure.
it wasn't budging. I mean, this door was not budging. And actually, I don't know if Tim, because actually, I think Tim was on a sniper post that night. So I'm not really sure who the ram guy was. It might have been Mike Parsons. I'm really not sure. But,
Okay.
I'm sitting here and I'm in the laundry room. And every time they hit that door, I'm sitting here thinking, he knows exactly where we're at right now.
Yeah.
He knows where we're at. He knows where we're coming from. So and you start getting those thoughts in your mind, but you got to do what you got to do.
So
So finally
during
the
any of this time, is there any second thoughts from Craig? I mean, is it like, oh shit, what am I doing?
not like that. I'm just not like I said. My whole thought process was he knows where we're at.
Okay.
You know, where we are losing the element of surprise. You know, and we like the element of surprise.
Oh, most
You know,
definitely.
surprise is our friend. We love surprise. And finally, we get the order for the 4 guys in the house to make a small entry or just barely enter into the kitchen area and see what's holding the door. You know, so and like I said, we knew we was dealing with a veteran. So I cracked the door and we scanned it, make sure there ain't wires or anything, because that's what we was worried about with booby traps.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know,
I mean,
yeah,
with that
scanned it, make
background.
sure wires, open the door up. We start to move in. Well, this joker had set a 4x4, had braced his door with a 4x4 that went from basically where the doorknob was to the other side of the wall and studded into the wall. You
Wow.
know, because they were like, well, we need y'all to move that 4x4. So we're making movement in there, and we was able to move the brace, and we're being slow and deliberate. You know, and I just crazy things that you notice when you're doing stuff like this. You know, because when we was getting the briefing, we were told that this guy was getting messages from God through his microwave. Well, one of the first things I noticed in the kitchen was the microwave was open. I'm like, all right, you know, so we're moving because we're gonna file in, and then the rest of the team's gonna file in with us. And so we go to hit our lights, you know, because lights are our friends.
Oh, yes.
And well, this guy had taken heavy ply plastic and stretched it from the floor to the ceiling. So when we hit our lights, that plastic basically acted like a big mirror, come back in our eyes, and just lit him up a perfect sight picture to engage.
See, for some
And I
reason,
had,
I thought aluminum foil was involved.
huh? Yeah,
Did he have aluminum foil somewheres in there?
not to my knowledge, dog. What I
Okay.
remember seeing was just that real heavy plastic. But I mean, it did the job, you know, because we hit our lights, and I mean, right back in our faces. And I had about enough time. Just the guy that was right behind me, Wayne Haynes. I just turned around, and I'm like, oh shit. And that's when I remember the first round, because I saw just a small flash from about 11 o'clock low, and that was when the first round hit. First round actually come right between the lights on our shield, come through the shield, just vaporized everything in my shield wrist, the hand I was holding the shield. And I mean, dude, from then, right then, it was on. It got really sporty really fast.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy being a combat veteran, I mean, just the suppressive fire probably took place. And definitely, I don't think we need to go into the whole details of that. So, from that, you're at the point to where you're injured, and does one of the teammates pull you out? You get out?
Well, I mean, out of this guy's first 10 rounds, every round hit either equipment or us.
Right.
Yeah, the first round, like I said, the first round went through the shield, and naturally I dropped the shield. You know, my wrist wouldn't hold it. There's a couple other than I had a round hit me in the chest. You know, and by then we were in full de-ass the area mode. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
just back. So we back into the laundry room. Well, I leaned out with the Glock 18, and I aimed where I thought I saw that flash, and I aimed at the floor because I knew what the Glock 18 was going to do. And I just let it rip. I run 32 rounds just like that. Dropped the magazine, went to grab, because I carried my extra magazines on my chest. Went to grab an extra magazine. Well, I couldn't grab it because of my wrist. So I tucked the gun up under my arm and grabbed it with my right magazine. And right about the time I was getting ready to seat that magazine, I took that round that hit me in the thigh. And the next thing I remember from that was Wayne Haynes was trying to pick me up off of him. Everybody was saying, get out, get out, get out.
Right.
And I was trying to get out the window. I didn't realize how bad my leg was. I was trying to get out the window, but I just literally didn't have the strength to jump myself out of the window. So one of the medics, Barry Bowen, he reached in, grabbed my drag strap, and
Okay.
and drug me out of the window.
So, from that, naturally everybody, Craig, him and the other guys, they took a lot of fire. They
A
were
lot of
engaged.
fire.
And so everything, from that, Craig is, now you're in a hospital recovering. I mean, the recovery process, we know that it's a long time, but mentally, what was Craig thinking during this whole recovery process?
Because of what I held on to the whole recovery process was just get through this and get back with the SRT team. That was my whole driving point, was get back to my brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah,
You know,
for sure.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what drove. And it took me almost 3 years to completely heal up. But that was my driving force, was get back to my brothers and sisters.
all right. And then the day comes to where the bad news, Craig has to retire from law enforcement. That hit you hard, didn't it?
That's where my issues started, was when I was told I couldn't go back to law enforcement.
I mean, because
that was,
that's our world. It's just like me when my time out of the military, man. When they told me that, I said, I'm not ready. I still got more time until I need to retire, and so mentally, how did you hold up, brother?
that news mentally broke me. I can remember when I heard that news, just breaking down and crying, because that news broke me. It really did. That, like I said, that's our world. And I
Yeah.
had, I'd only been in 3, maybe 4 years. I had a lot of policing left to do. I had a lot of SWAT left to do.
Oh yeah. So and I
And to be told you can't do it no more.
in what year was it that you were told you had to retire?
It was '04 or '05. It was, yeah, it was 04, '05. I can't remember exactly when it was,
Okay. I
because
think
they had to wait until I completely healed, and it
right,
took me
right.
forever to heal.
Well, and that's actually around the time frame that we truly 100% met. I
Yep.
met you. I met you prior to me going to the academy, and I definitely, we're not going to discuss that, how we met there. And I know that once I tell you how we originally met, you'll remember. But in the academy is really when I knew who you were. I knew the
Right.
situation because I lived in the area. I knew what took place, and I was in the process of getting out of the military and going into law enforcement. So I knew what took place. But I met you in academy, and brother, you gave, I mean, spot on, an officer survival speech, and you didn't open a book up, and you didn't go through it. You said it from here. And
Well, was it the one that have you really prepared yourself that you could probably get killed doing this?
yeah,
Was that the one? Yeah.
it was. And so after that, we went on break. Right after you did everything, you was actually out in the hallway, and I know that for a fact because you did a welfare check on me.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was me, Casey Hildebrand, and Alan Alexander, and
Yeah.
we got the good old welfare check, but which was fine for
Absolutely.
me.
I got to do that.
And you come up and introduce yourself to me and tell me who you were, and I was like, brother, thank you for what you've done. And I actually told you, I was like, dude, that's amazing what you talked about in there. But
Right.
you
Well,
just said,
I'm glad it was good.
but Craig, the Craig that I know, you said, no, I just told you something.
Yeah.
And it hit a lot of guys in the academy. So hopefully those knuckleheads paid attention, because
That's what I designed to do, because they needed to understand that if you haven't really prepared yourself, that you can get killed doing this,
mm-hmm.
or prepared your loved ones. Hey, I can get killed doing this. Then you don't need to be there yet.
Yeah, because I mean, I was one of the older guys in the academy. I was in my late 30s when I went to the academy.
Yeah. Right.
So So after the academy, I'm with the city. I'm out there working. Naturally, I chose night shift because I loved it. I got to work with a lot of great supervisors. Um, that's when you and me really met, and we met, and it was back during my days that I started letting my demons affect me, and we met in a bar.
Right.
And I told you that night, and I said, anytime you're around me, you're not going to pay for a damn drink because I got you.
I remember
You
that.
you're willing to fight me for it, and I was like, well, I guess we're going to have to fight. And your exact words is, you're too damn big to try to beat your ass. So
Yeah, I
you
just
took
had to
the
shoot
drink.
you.
So
Just,
so during that time frame, like I said, I was fighting the demons, man.
right.
I done did my time in the military. When I got injured in the military, I wasn't able to slow down as much as you. I was actually able to get right back into it. But boom, I get into law enforcement. Law enforcement was actually very, very slow for me compared to what I, dealt with in the military. And
Right.
that's when I hit the dark side. And actually, I lost a wife. I lost wife as in a divorce. My kids, so on and so on. Was that about the time frame that Craig was hitting everything and
It,
really?
it really was because it wasn't long. It wasn't long after I retired, and I was dealing with that nuclear bomb. But I lost my wife, through a divorce, and that was two of my foundation blocks that were gone. And then the November after I got shot, my mom, who was my third foundation stone, had passed away. So yeah, I mean, and I did. I went to a very, very dark place and stayed there for a good while.
Well, we both did, and I think during the time frame that I started coming around, I think you had already started that,
Yeah,
and was actually in a better place. Um, what made Craig go from that dark person into the Craig that's like, okay, I got to keep going. I got to do that fight that I was taught to do, and I got to overcome it.
well,
What
I
made
mean,
Craig do that?
I always had that fight, but I stayed in that dark area. I stayed in that dark area, and I know, as cliche as it sounds, a good woman is what pulled me out of it.
Hmm.
A good woman, is what pulled me out of it.
And that's what I was waiting to hear because, during the time frame that I was dealing with the wrestling in the ministry is when we had to talk about that, and we had it at Zaxby's on in Linlock.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so for me, when I changed my pace in life and actually, I'm just got myself right with the Lord, I asked Him for forgiveness, and I asked Him to take control of my life and guide me and lead me because I was a leader in the military. I was a leader in the community. Obviously, my leading skills failed, so I wanted God to take control, and He did. Is that
Right.
something that happened with you?
And that was the thing with Misty, because she was real big into church and into her faith, but she didn't try to force it on me. She just said, when you're ready, I'll be here. And just seeing how she was being and how she was acting, it finally clicked. I need to get back right with God, and I need to let Him be back in charge, because same thing, me in charge of my life, I sucked at it. I, I really did. I sucked at it, and that's the explanation for insanity, is doing the same thing, expecting different results. If you want different results, you got to do different stuff. And like I said, just being around Misty, and especially her not trying to force it, just her patience and her love and her virtue. I'm like, you know what? This is where I need to be.
Well, definitely, Misty, thank you very much for doing that to Craig because I met Craig in his dark times, and I know Craig now, and I've seen the change. And I guess you say that you're the motivational force and point to get Craig to where he's at. So,
She was. Mm-hmm.
so
She,
definitely, Misty, thank you very much for doing that.
She made me want to be a better person.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
so now, Craig, you're into that, and that's about the time frame that your boy went into law enforcement too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
I mean, we, especially dangerous jobs like that, we hope they will find something else to do. But
I told my boy
I'm a,
if he joined the
yeah,
police department, I was going to break his knees.
but Caleb is just like me, dude. He is as hard headed as they come. Once he sets his mind to doing something, he's gonna do it. So I'm like, well, I can either butt heads with him or I can just fully support him and try to teach him as much as what I know to increase his chances of survival. And then, it wasn't only that, but then he come to me when he's getting ready to join the SRT team. And I'm just like, really, son? You're going, he's like, well, Dad, you was SRT. I'm like, you saw where that got me, right? You saw, you remember that time, don't you? He's like, yeah, but and here's the thing about it, with SRT, you're around higher trained individuals.
The cream of the
You know,
crop, the
yeah,
elite.
you're with the cream of the crop, and if he's gonna be in a bad situation, I'd rather him be around highly trained individuals than around some rookie fresh out of the academy. No offense to the rookies fresh out of the academy. No offense to them at all, but different people react different ways to bullets flying around.
Oh, for sure. So,
Yeah.
so you have that talk, and I mean I know now that you've seen that your boy's learned from your mistakes. He's listened to your advice because I see it in him. Me and him don't talk that much, but I pay attention to social media. So definitely, what you've done as that supporter for your son, you've done a great job, brother. So now, what's Craig's hobbies now? I mean, what do you live for every day
What
besides
do I
your
live?
wife and God?
I mean, I still love to shoot. I still love to fish. But I'm gonna tell you what, playing with them grandbabies, ooh wee, that's playing with them grandbabies. That's a highlight. I love them grandbabies. And of
Well,
course, I love going and watching Caleb's band play.
yeah, and I'm gonna get out there and see him. I mean,
He,
believe
I
you
mean,
me.
and he has settled in phenomenally as a sergeant. Everybody that he comes across that deals with him, they love him, they respect him. I couldn't ask for no better.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Craig,
That,
you've raised a good kid, and done a very very good job with that. So with me, naturally, I went through my dark side, and I had to basically reprogram who I was. I had to make sure that I listened to God, and I had a point in time that you know I lost faith in Him again, and I had that jolt, and I got back into it, and I got my melon right.
right.
Has anything like that happened with you, brother?
Um, I mean, since I come back, I haven't really had an incident where I lost faith. Now, have I been angry with him a couple of times? Absolutely.
Oh, I got a list of questions for him when we talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. List of questions.
Yeah.
And I've learned, me, especially with Misty, I mean, I've just learned so much stuff, and I mean, I'm to the point now that, God, I trust you,
Yeah.
you know, whatever your will is, I can't go against it, but I trust you to do what's best.
So,
But I haven't had really a question of faith. If anything, my faith has grown stronger. But like I said, I got questions, and I've been angry a couple of times, more than a couple of times.
And you know, with me, you know, naturally, everybody that knows me knows that you know wrestling has been who Billy is outside of my time serving.
Right.
Um, and you know, I've caught hell from you know the professional wrestling side. I've definitely from my cohorts in the traditional wrestling. I've caught hell from that. I used it in a platform, and it was actually when I was starving for faith, and I was like, you know, what do I do now? What can I do to help him? You know, I it's my role, and boom, you know, one of my buddies tells me, and hopefully you're listening, Joe. Joe says, brother, you got everything that you need. You love God, you're wanting to serve Him, and you're a good wrestler. Boom.
There you go.
I put that together, and but I was going great. I mean, I'm glad that I helped the community out a lot. I definitely saw a lot of people dedicate their lives to the Lord, but you know, I backslid. Like I said, I lost faith, man. And
We
and
always we do, man. We're sinners.
and I went through the times of all right, you know, I'm just going to be right here and not here with it, and then boom, life hits me. Was never expecting to be married again.
Right.
The people that know me knew that Billy he wasn't getting married again material, but I found the person that understood me and
Yes.
was there to do the same thing that Missy did for you. I'm here for you. And you know, she's definitely helped me out. And I've had my episodes with her, and you know, I'm sitting here looking at it. This thing right here keeps me functional, but it also turns me into a person that I don't need to be when I forget
Right.
about it. And I'm glad that, you know, my faith with the Lord and listening to Him has allowed me not to become that crazy person again. So
Right.
the future with Craig, you got any major plans other than you gonna be this granddaddy bouncing them kids on your knee? You gonna support them in
I mean,
sports,
dude,
all
that
that?
I don't see what else I could want outside of just you know, I'd like to do a lot of traveling with Misty, but you know, outside of just being there for my kids and being there for my grandkids, that's where I want to be. You know, and you know, you're talking about going through bad spells and you know, backsliding and stuff. I think it was 2019 or 2020. You know, I decided to come off all of my pain medication, every bit of it. You know, and up until that point, from the night of the Elizabeth Street, up until that point, I was on roughly 200 milligrams of morphine a day.
Yeah.
And I just, I decided I'd had enough, you know, and I went and I talked to my doctor about it. And he's like, well, I can wing you off of it. I'm like, no, dude, you don't understand. I'm done with it. I'm done. He's like, well, it's going to be brutal. I'm like, I get it. And I did. I went through a brutal time, but you know, I kept my faith with God. I did get angry a couple of times, you know, going through all the DTs and stuff like that. But you know what? He pulled me through it, and I
And
haven't.
all of this sums it up of the you know the title right here, daily battles.
Yes,
We face it, we deal with it. You know, that some of people think we suck it up and drive on. We're so immune to life itself. We're so grayscaled that we're not humans. All of that stuff. Craig, if we have an individual that's watching this and they're suffering from them daily battles, to keep them from being a statistic, what's Craig's advice to tell them that they're okay?
well, you know, if you know, get good with whatever spiritual leader you know, and reach out to your friends. They're there for you. You know, one of the things that helped me was I had a great support group. You know, I had people like you, and they even saw me in my dark time, but y'all was still always there. Don't be afraid to reach out to your brothers and sisters. You know, because I would much rather somebody call me at 3 o'clock in the morning and let's talk for 3 or 4 hours then somebody called me the next day and say, "Hey, did you hear about so and so?" You know, reach out. You got to reach out. Don't try to hold all that stuff inside by yourself.
And and everybody, naturally, we are not trained professionals. We might
No,
be trained professionals in other career fields. We are two men that have been fortunate enough to take our daily battles and move them into something positive in life. And I'm telling
exactly.
you right now, there's hope.
Absolutely.
There's hope through faith. There's hope through support. You just have to suck your pride up.
You got to get rid of that pride.
If whether you're a male or female or whatever else you claim yourself to be, man up.
Well, you know, and because everybody, you know, they think the warrior status that, you know, you got to do all this, but you know, there's a lot of great warriors that have been broken. Warriors can be broken,
Well,
you know.
during my wrestling days, actually, I got called out of the blue one day at a wrestling show, and I was talking to the pastor that was leading this, and he actually still leads a recovery group. And we were in the back talking, and I was on fire. I was telling everybody about what happened and all of that.
Yeah,
And next thing you know, I get called out of the blue, and I go out to this wrestling ring, and I'm in a little small CrossFit studio or gymnasium with a bunch of recovering addicts, and it was right down my street. And I told everybody that my biggest problem with overcoming my addiction, overcoming my problems with faith is, I served majority of my adult life and was labeled as a hero.
right.
In the military, we're the world's 911. In law
Yeah,
enforcement, we were the 911. Somebody had a problem, we were called to come and help them and assist them with it and hopefully solve it. It was frowned upon that if I had a bad day, to go talk to my sergeant or my lieutenant, my captain, so on and so on about, hey, I went to that murder scene, or we just did this mission, and it's hitting me right here and here. It's like you better get that BS out of your head, or
squared
I'm
away.
gonna send you home.
Yep,
So us as warriors and heroes, we were frowned upon if we opened up, but
and
you know
showed any cheek in our armor.
right, and I quoted earlier on that you made a comment that I was big OSOB. I'm not a small guy. I've been 6'3" since I was 14 years old. Definitely in my 20s, I've been 250 plus. So I'm not a small guy. And where I'm getting at with this is when I realized that I needed to ask for help and I needed to ask for support and reach out to guys like you, Craig, I started crying. And
Absolutely.
people that know Billy Neely, he doesn't cry. It's because that's my persona of who I am. But I've
Right.
realized, it's okay to show your emotions, but it's not okay to live your life with those emotions. So,
You can't let your emotions control you. You know, Billy, a buddy of mine, long time, but he's a deputy with Caleb. But you know, he we was talking back over the summer about crying, and he said one of the things, and it just hit me really profoundly because it made so much sense. You know, he said when we come into this world, we're crying because we need something. And at that age, you know, that's the only way we could communicate that we need something. He said nothing changes as we get older. He said, if you have a need that's so bad, he said, it's okay to cry about it. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. But it's like you said, you can't let your emotions control you.
absolutely. Well, Craig, as always, brother, it's amazing to talk to you. I've enjoyed every time, even the day. Where's it at? That scar right there. When you told me that knife
I
was
don't know
really
nothing about
scar.
I,
I've
do,
always.
you, hey, do you have pictures or a video?
I was too drunk to record it.
Yes, it didn't happen.
There you go. So, brother, it's always been a pleasure to know you. I'm so glad that I was blessed to meet you.
Likewise, my man.
You're not a friend to me. You're a brother. We have been there
Family.
for each other, and I know that it was hard for you to open up, but I know for a fact that the words that you, me, and everybody else that helps me on these podcasts, we're going to reach out to somebody. So,
Yeah, and I hope that's what I want to happen. And I love the fact that you chose me to come on your podcast.
Well, you're actually my first guest.
And see, that's even better.
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And I'm honored by that.
That's twice you've been the first guest on my podcast. You know that, right?
And I don't know why you love me so much, but I appreciate it.
I blood brothers, I guess. But
that's it.
Hey, brother, thank you very much for your service. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for everything that you've done for mankind. I know for a fact that it's not going to go unnoticed. And when the daily battles hit, I got your back, brother. So thank you very much for being on. I look forward to talking to you later on after this. And everybody, we're going to do the silent applause. Thank you, Craig. You're a hell of a man, brother.
Hey, love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Later.